give you a quick revision. This is the most important slide in this whole set. It just shows you how do we write CSS. So you go ahead and put a selector and you change some of the properties. So in this case, I'm applying this style to the body tag of my document. Now you can see I need to learn two things. I need to learn how to select elements from the page. I need to learn the most common properties that I can change. The 20%. If I try to do the 100, I will be here for many, many weeks. So just the common way of selecting and the common properties that I change. All right. So the common way of selecting, we have seen this. 3 common ways. By tag, by creating a named style we call class and apply it wherever I want, or by applying it to a particular element by ID. We have seen this. Now, there are some bits more advanced selectors. We cannot say they are all part of the 80% because in common cases we also need. We started looking at this last time, if you remember. So let me just quickly revise some of them. This is very, very common selector. What does this mean? What does it say? Yes. Only apply this style to A if it's child of P. If it's not child of P, leave it alone, don't touch it. That's what this CSS rule says. The other one is, you can say apply this style to this particular tag, but only if it has this particular attribute. Okay? And I show you an example. If you remember, I think this is where we stopped. Let me remind you. Let me run it. Any example you take, as I explained, run it first and then see what's going on. You can see that my inputs, I have here 3 inputs, as you can see. 2 of them are of type text, and the third of type button. And they are styled differently. The ones that are of type text, they have a light yellow background. The ones that are styled as button, they have some margin. Can you see here some margin here? Yes. And the length, the width, is different than the text boxes. So how did I do this? Here it is. So in here I am saying, please go ahead, whenever you see an input, but not all inputs.
Just the
Yes, just the ones of type text, I want you to do this. But the ones of type button, I want you to do this. So this is a little bit more advanced selector than just by tag. It is by tag, but only if certain attribute has certain values. Is clear? Okay. Good. The other little bit more advanced selectors, are, I can basically, using the pseudo classes. I think we already kind of covered this a little bit. Like, for example, the links, I can have, depending on the state of the link, if I hover over it, if I put the mouse over it, I want the style to change. If the link has been visited before, I want it to look different than if it's not visited before. So these are called pseudo classes. So the tag, I don't apply the style in all the states. A particular tag can have different states. You know state, what I mean by state?
Yes.
What is the state? Like happy, sad?
For example, but and like in a button, is it click or is it like mouse over?
Yes.
For example?
Yes. But in general, you know the concept of state. Depending on the state of that element, I apply different style. Okay. So let me show you an example. Here is an example, pseudo classes. Here. You've seen it? Okay, very good. So I just very quickly revise and move on. And here, if it's enabled, I want a light yellow. If it's disabled, I want a light gray. So as I mentioned, always just run this so you can see it. You see the inputs that are enabled have a yellow background, and the inputs that are disabled have gray background. You see the link, I definitely visited this before. So what is the color here? Gray, because I visited it before. But as soon as I hover over it, it changed to red with yellow background. If I click on it, it changed to black with yellow background. Depending on the state of the link, you get different style. Now here, the last one I want to show you, you see this text. If I inspect it, it's a paragraph. As you can see here, it is a paragraph, but it does not have this quotation. Let me show you here. See this double quote here, double quote here? It's not part of the text. It's added using styles. So I go to the paragraph and say at the beginning, I want you to open the quotation, and at the end, I want you to close it using styles. So let me show you finally. Here it is. This is a class called code. Before it, go ahead and add this, and after it, go ahead and add this. Now the way I apply it, here is the way I apply it. This is a paragraph, and I say, I want you to apply the code class, named class called code. And what that class does, it adds quotation before and after.
The point should pay it.
Sorry?
What's the benefit?
The benefit is, if I have many quotations across my whole pages,
You can use that whenever you want.
yeah, remember consistency. If I don't use these styles, I might sometimes put it in single quote. Another time, double quote. Another time, I don't even put any quotes. You see, but here it's consistent. I define it once, and I make my content simple, and I add this using a style. And we all agree on this style, and we put it in a CSS file, and we share it across all the web pages. Okay. Plus, in here, it might look nicer. You might even use images or something more fancy than a single quote or a double quote. It's clear? And it's consistent. So these are called pseudo classes. Examples of them: enabled, disabled, visited, hover over, and this before and after. These are called pseudo classes, and this is an example of that. Okay, now the last thing I want to show you in this kind of advanced selectors is the ability to apply different style to different, let's say you have a list or a table, you want different rows to have different style. This is called the zebra table. In the web developers, they want to call it, what is the zebra table? What is a zebra table? You know the zebra.
Black and white?
Yeah. What is the distinctive features of this zebra?
Black and white texture.
Different it's a struct color. So here is what the zebra table is. So let me just run it, and then I'll show you the trick how to do it. This is a zebra table. So you have alternating colors. One row is light green, and the other one is a light yellow. See here, the header has a different style. And the footer and the last few rows have, again, different style. This is just to show you the power of CSS. And some of them, this is a scary exam-related things, are also different style. So how to do all of this without any coding, with only CSS. So let me show you how this is done. This is the most advanced we will go to. There is a little bit more advanced than this, but this is enough. All right. So now, this one is straightforward. We want a border on all our table to have a border that is 1 pixel solid and the black color. This one is easy. Now in here, this is how I select the even rows. The rows, you know, rows have indexes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the ones that are divisible by 2, I just put nth child to n to denote the even ones. What do I want the even ones to be? Green, yellow. Here I am selecting the odd ones. I'm doing n child to n plus 1. This will select
The odd one.
the odd ones, and I want them to be light yellow. Okay? Now, the first child, if you remember the first child, it was gray with the white color. Here's how I do it. I say n child 1, which will select the first row in my table. Now, the last, if you remember, the last 3 or 4 rows, they had different color. So this is how I select them. Instead of using nth, the nth child, I'm using the nth last child. The last child, the child before last, and the 2 last ones, and the 3 last ones, and so on. It is clear? You can do either nth child or nth last child. And finally, the last child is easy. It has its own pseudo class. Now this is a little bit more, even more advanced. What I'm saying here is go to any row that has this attribute. And this attribute, if it contains exams, I want you to do different stuff. Are you following here? I'm going to a particular rows and saying, go through the rows. If you find a row that has this attribute, by the way, this is a custom attribute, my own. I added my own attribute. It's not part of HTML standard. In custom attributes, it's a very good idea to start with data dash. So let me show you what I mean. So if I go down here, have a look. This row is to do with exams, and this row is to do with exams. So I am annotating. It's like adding a little bit of extra data to my row, indicating that this is an exam. The content of this row related to exams. I want to alert the reader to these lines. How do I alert the user to these lines? By adding an attribute. Can you see this attribute here? Saying data lecture, this is intermediate exam, and this is a sample intermediate exam. Now in the styling, I said, if you come across a row that has this attribute, and this attribute contains the word exam, I want you to style it differently. Is kind of clear? You really need to play with this. You might be listening to me, but you have to. Okay. Remember, so you don't lose the big picture. I don't want you to lose the big picture in the sense that CSS is super easy language, but very, very powerful. It's very simple syntax. You select something and you apply some style to it. Selection is a big story. There are many ways of selecting things from the page. I showed you simpler ones like by tag, by class name, by ID. But there are more to it. There's more to it. You can do more sophisticated selection. So in here, if I have something that is a list, let's say an unordered list or a table or a list of things, I can basically style it in a differently based on whether the item is an odd or even. The index of the item is odd or even. So in here, for even rows, I want the background to be green yellow. For odd, I want this background. Now for the first row, I want this style. For the last 4 rows, I want this style. So all these are selectors. I am concentrating on these powerful selectors. The last one I want to show you is this one. I am selecting the rows that has this data, yes. That this attribute contains, you see this star here? Star means contains the word exam. So the whole row will be selected and then we'll apply the style to it. Yes.
Can we see how we did the lecture type?
Sorry?
Can we see how we did the lecture type? How we
Okay. You see this attribute. Let me just show you one thing. Is exam. It could be anything. It's my own attribute. I call it here is exam. You can name it. This is a custom attribute, my own custom attribute.
Will you just find it in the HTML?
Yes. No, in any element.
Yes.
Let me show you. Let me show you. This is an.
To define it somewhere else in the headers or something.
No, you don't need to define it. So let me just show you this concept. Okay, so in here, I will just put here, let's say, paragraph. Are you following? Paragraph. And here, I can there are some built-in attributes. Can somebody give me an example of a built-in attribute in HTML? ID, thank you. ID equal P1. Sorry.
Built-in, you mean by default?
By default, it comes with every browser. Then space. Can somebody tell me another attribute? Name. Another one. Type not in this case, because type is for inputs. The other one is the class. Remember class? If I want to style it, I put here class and then put the name of the class. Now, beside the default ones that comes with HTML, I can have my own ones, my own attributes. It is recommended for your own attribute to start them with data. Okay? And I will call this special. I will just call it my attribute. And I will call it my first P. Okay? So this attribute, does it come with the HTML? No, it's my own. I might use it to target this particular paragraph. So to target this particular paragraph, there are many ways. I can target it using the ID, but I can also target it using my own custom attribute. So what I can do, let me just copy this one. I will say whenever you see a paragraph, and that paragraph has something called my custom attribute, and that custom attribute happens to have the word first. I want you to apply this style to it. I want you to make it white and whatever, pink, for example. Okay. Now this one, what was this one called? Is exam. Let's say is exam. So no problem. Let's say here instead of lecture type is exam. Sorry. Is exam. Here I want just to highlight that these are custom attributes. I name them the way I wish.
But here it's custom attribute with two the same name with the two parts.
That is the power of this. I am saying any row that has this custom attributes, select it for me and apply the style I defined up there. So I can, let's say this one is also an exam to do with exams. Let's say this one. Let's say this line here. Oh, sorry. Let me just copy this. Is exam, and I will do here final. All right. So basically, what this selector. Remember, selector is nothing but it will go through the document and select who qualifies to receive this style. So it will say, oh, these are the rows. It will go through them. Do you have a custom attribute called data is exam? Yes, I have. Do you happen to have in its content exam? Yes. Then you receive the style. Otherwise, you don't. If I just put here final, let me first run this just to show you. You can see here, this has applied to this. Okay? Where is my paragraph? Paragraph, I didn't put anything. Yeah, I'll have to write something. Now here, let's say I don't put exam. I just put final. If I refresh, it will not apply to that line. Okay. Now my paragraph, I didn't put anything in it. That's why it didn't appear. This is my first P. I go here and refresh. See here, it's pink background and white color. So you can define your own custom attributes. I think this is probably 80%. I should have not put it, but anyway, it's there for you if you want to explore. Yes, please, you had some questions? Somebody? Yes.
We add this to the exam, another S.
Another S, it contains, so it will be picked up. So let's try it. Here we are. Here it is. So let's go down, down, down. We said here final, exams SS. Yes? Because we said contains. So let's refresh. And it's picked up. Because we said contain. Remember, this one, if I put this, it says contain. If I put this, ends with. And if I put the one with the hat, here, this one. Starts with. Okay? And if I put star, contains. If I don't put anything, equals. In this case, none of them will qualify. If I just put equal. Yes, you see here, because I put equal, if I refresh, none of them qualify to receive that style. So that style will not be applied. Now I find that it's a mistake. I should have put, maybe if I do ends with, see here, ends with, they will be also picked up. Because all of them, except the last one, will not be picked up because it ends with SS. Here it is. All right, you get the idea. So the key message here I want to highlight is that what you have is you have the concept of selectors and the concept of style that you apply to the element selected by the selectors. There are some basic selectors and there are some advanced selectors. Is clear?
Yes.
Now, in the remaining 3 minutes, I just want to highlight a couple of things. We already seen all of this. The common, now we have seen the selectors. What is remaining is we see the common properties that we change. The common things that we can style. For color, the font size, the font family, the font weight. Is it italic or normal? Font decoration, is it underlined or strike through? See this line through? If you want to strike through some text. Text alignment, do we want to be centered, left or right, and so on. You can type it this way by putting font style, font variant, font weight, and so on. Or you can shortcut like this. Okay? Either way will work, depending which one you want. List styles, we already seen this. Remember the list styles of unordered list? By default, it is a circle. You can change it to square, you can change it to some other image of your own. You can put your own image. For unordered list, by default it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can change it to upper Roman or lower alpha, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, those Roman numbers. Or if you don't want any, no bullets and no numbers, you put none. And this is useful if you want to put a menu, as we've seen before. No, none means no bullets. It will, if you put none, it will look without bullets. And this is very commonly used when you do the navigation bar. Navigation bar is typically an unordered list that is styled. How we style it, I already explained if you remember this before. We made the list style type is none. This will remove the bullets. And we put some margin, no margins. And here in the floating, we say floating to the left. Anyway, you have a full example of how to do a navigation bar using a list, an unordered list. This is the last thing, borders and margins. Every element in the HTML page is a box. Every element, a paragraph is a box. A div is a box. Everything basically is a box. Now, in a box, what you can do with a box, you can define a border. Border is very clear, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you want to see a border or you want no border? Now, there is two other concepts, margin and padding. What is the margin, what is the padding, and what is the difference?
Margin outside the margin.
Okay, thank you. So here is the content. Let's say this is a paragraph. Okay, so the content is inside, and I can put it in a border. Now the distance between the border and the content, this is the padding. Thank you. Now this this box, I might have another paragraph beneath it, underneath it. Now it has its own box. Now the distance between these two boxes is the margin. And this is what this attribute allows you to do. You can control the margin, the padding, and the border using this style. Very simple styling. There is plenty of examples that I provided. Okay, let me stop here. Basically, so far you have the basic of CSS. You really need to apply it for you to really understand it fully. The last topic still remaining in CSS, it's called the responsive web pages. We will see this concept, very, very important. It's part of the 20%. You cannot ignore it. So we'll see these responsive pages and then move to JavaScript. So inshallah next time we'll see two concepts, responsive pages and the basic of JavaScript. Thank you.